Hello everyone. In the previous session, we learned about the pitch your startup has to make to important stakeholders, mainly investors. The people that you are pitching to are always extremely busy. So, you need to be very clear about your purpose of pitching and get your point across concisely. Make sure to use what you have learned to prepare. Now, in this session, I will explain how to design your pitch deck slides. What is an effective way to visually communicate your business? In communication, it is important not only to be easy to hear and understand, but also to be easy to see and understand. Before that, however, let us check the answers to the mini quiz in the previous session. First, the answer to question 1. What are the 4 main occasions that you need to pitch for? They are recruitment, sales, PR, and fundraising. Next, the answers to question 2. What are 3 things that you have to include in a 30 seconds pitch? They are your business, market size, and traction. Lastly, the answers to question 3. What are 4 additional things that you have to include in a 3-minute pitch? They are secret sauce, monetization, the team, and your big ask. With the word pitch, you may assume that it's basically for investors. However, there are other stakeholders whom you will need to pitch to, such as customers or potential team members. It is a very important skill for startups. Opportunities often come along suddenly, so be prepared to seize the opportunity in any situation. Now, let us move on to today's main topic: how to design your pitch deck. First of all, start with the story of your startup. You must do so whether you are speaking or writing. The slides are meant to support your story. Start creating slides until you have a solid idea of the story that you want to tell. You will be surprised, but many people create the slides first, then come up with a plausible story and force it onto the slides that they have created. This is wrong. Make sure to have your unique story as a founder and then create slides as a tool to communicate that story. Regarding the appearance of slides, there are 3 points to consider. Legible, simple, and obvious. These are the same points as I have repeatedly emphasized in the previous sessions. As I have repeatedly emphasized on the importance of it being legible, when it comes to how the slides look, it means that the slides must be easy to read. I'm sure that some of the investors whom you will pitch to are older than you. In fact, most of the upper management in venture capital and the client companies who sign high-value contracts are experienced veterans. In short, they are older people. Think of your parents. Write in a way that these older people can read clearly at a glance. Then, their staff will definitely be able to read it too. It's a bad idea to make your slides full of text. I strongly recommend using photos and easy to understand charts to make your presentation more visually appealing. When you create slides, there are 4 important points: font, text color, readability, and layout. First, regarding the font, please use a simple font and a large size. Avoid decorative fonts or font sizes that are too small, as they will be difficult to read. Next, regarding the color of the text, please use primary colors or black. Avoid pastel or subtle colors unless you have a specific reason to do so. Also, pay attention to the contrast between the text color and the background color of the slides to ensure maximum readability. If you use a similar color in both text and slide background, the text cannot be read clearly. Furthermore, regarding the layout, start by writing what you want to communicate the most. If your stakeholders cannot understand what you want to say until they read all the way to the bottom of the slide, people will not bother to read your pitch deck all the way to the end. The second point is simplicity. Let me give you a bad example. Is there anyone who looks at this slide and can immediately understand what it is trying to say? Probably no one. This slide is the exact opposite of all the points mentioned in being legible. The font is too small. The font color is ambiguous. There is no contrast between the text color and the slide background. Additionally, the layout is problematic as they are cramming both their business and targets into one slide. It leaves a messy impression to the person that they are pitching to. Even though they are lucky enough to get the opportunity to pitch, I am very sure that this slide will not lead them to the next step. As a general rule, make sure to communicate only one point per slide and express it in one sentence. Actually, this startup has reworked the slides after receiving advice from those around them. This is the revised slides. It's hard to believe that the slides are from the same company. The new slides are so easy to understand. We are the African and African American version of Netflix, is how they describe their business. Everyone can instantly understand. The font size, color, and contrast with the slide background has dramatically improved. Furthermore, they have also included images of their services projected onto PCs, smartphones, and tablets. These pictures are perfectly self-explanatory and make everyone understand what the company does at a glance. The third point is obvious. Again, let me give you a bad example. When you see this graph, I am 100% sure that you can't understand anything other than the fact that something is pointing up. No startup would ever say our business is down the road when they pitch. So, if you are just going to show this diagram, it's better not to include it at all. If you want to include a diagram with the right shoulder rising, please use a slide like this. You can instantly understand that this diagram is about the monthly growth rate, which is growing by 50%, and also the unit of profit. To conclude this session, I will list 4 things to avoid when designing slides. First, never make your slides full of text. Next, please refrain from including photos or graphs alone. Photos and graphs can be very effective if these are used well. However, it will be counterproductive if you show them without any explanation. If you use it, please include a brief explanation, like a simple caption of what it is intended for. And it's also best to avoid including animations in your slides. There's no guarantee that a slide that works well at your home will work the same way in the investor's office. If you have any technical difficulties, you're out. If that content is good, it will leave a good impression. So don't try something that will cause technical problems unless it's absolutely necessary in your pitch. Finally, it's best to avoid making jokes. Think about the situation where no one laughs. Pitching is not a comedy show, so focus on clearly communicating the key points of your business. Always stick with what you have learned from either the 30-second or 3-minute version of the pitch. After watching this and the previous session, I am sure that you are able to understand the key points in pitching and also how to present them visually. So now, it's time for practice. It's too risky to make a pitch to an important person without practicing. Practice as many times as possible to get your potential investors interested in your business. Now, as usual, let us have a mini quiz. The first question is, what are the 3 points to keep in mind when you prepare pitching slides? The second question is, what color should you use in your text? The third question is, what are 4 things that you need to avoid? Please review this video lecture on your own and prepare your answers before the next session. Thank you very much for watching. And once again, see you next time.